them rather, if any of them knew who this was, if this was their people, and to sit down with him or, check on it so that they can get an understanding. And I heard several different YouTube channels ask if James Prince was snitching by putting that tweet out. So everybody in the streets, I'm not talking about music industry types, I'm not talking about businessmen, I'm talking about anyone who is in the streets that deal with day-to-day street life. They will understand that what Jay Prince done was necessary. He had to address it publicly because the gentleman that did the robbery put it on social media publicly. If he doesn't say anything publicly about it and give the people who are the OGs in that area the opportunity to clean it up, then James Prince would not be following the rules. So what was James Prince doing? In the tweet, he basically told New York, specifically Brooklyn, where the guys that was from, that committed the act, and posted it on social media. Now, nobody had never heard of James Prince going out public and openly addressing the issues that he was dealing with in the streets. He never talked street business publicly. So why would he come out after never revealing himself publicly and all of a sudden release a tweet addressing openly street matters publicly? The reason for that is this. James Prince know the rules of the street. All right? So he know that as soon as they made that public, he obligated now to address it publicly. And y'all got to pay attention because this is how the reporters can get somebody hurt. Now, the reporter's presumption was that he might be snitching by putting out that tweet, which is nothing further from the truth. You can't snitch on somebody that told on themselves, first of all. Second of all, the video that the guys put up of them taking the Rap-A-Lot chain from this guy, cutting this guy's face up, was a direct humiliation on an OG in any hood. So you can't do that to an OG nowhere. Now, everybody in the streets know that James Prince is known for following what they call the code of respect. So, following the code of respect, he have to address this matter, and he have to do it publicly because these boys put this stuff into the social media in a public forum. So, James Prince addressed it publicly. So, before I go any further, I'm going to say hi to the family up in here, checking me out, trying to get this stuff situated where we can stop going at each other's head and we can clean up this mess that they laid down in Babylon on this divide and conquer. So I'm going to say for all of y'all that's here now, greetings. I'm glad y'all here. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of different greetings from everybody because they already know I speak. I'm from the hood, I'm from the block. I'll say, what's up? What's up? That's everybody. That's the Muslim, Assalamu alaikum, and the Rahubats. That's all that in the what's up. So if y'all get offended because I didn't use your term of address, then I can't control that. But I can say what's up, how y'all doing, and much love. So when we get back to this situation, now what did the media types do? They begin to put pressure on OGs in the street to come out and make statements. Nobody was ever supposed to issue a tweet, a verbal response, or an interview dealing with the tweet from James Prince. Because he had to put it out there publicly, they was just supposed to go handle their business, check their family, make sure that they was clean, and leave it alone. Now, if somebody found out it was in their family, they were supposed to address it publicly. That matter that was done in Brooklyn where the boy got robbed for the Rap-A-Lot chain came out of my clique, and we ain't know nothing about it. But it's straight now. We took care of that. That's how they were supposed to handle it. Whereas that's why he said we have to get an understanding. He ain't threatened nobody. He didn't say nobody did anything other than whatever is going on up there Those I respect, and he hashtagged them all. But none of them was supposed to openly and publicly respond if they following the code of the street. They was just supposed to go check their camps. Individuals check their camps. Now, their response was, if anything, at most, a phone call to James Prince. Hey, this is my son, the general. My camp clean, baby. I'll holler at you later. That's the end of the conversation. It wasn't supposed to be a whole drug out thing. And these reporters, by forcing people like Fat Joe to make a verbal response by continuously asking them about it, is putting his life in danger. It's not putting his life in danger from Jay Prince. It's putting his life in danger from OGs from his area. Because they already know the rules, and they're going by the rules. And this is how we end up in this situation, which is going to take me to the young Pharaoh situation next. Because if we follow the rules, we won't have these issues. And people always got something to say about somebody else's business without really understanding what it is that they're addressing. So the street rules become imperative to understand in social media and investigative reporting. Because you're not supposed to ask people from the street about street things so you can put it out in the public domain and get somebody hurt. So y'all got to understand this. You can seriously have a person's life snatched from them by putting the wrong stuff on social media and putting the wrong stuff in an investigative report in a documentary. Now, I did a video a couple months ago, about a month and a half ago, about Tupac. I had to take the video down because it put somebody's life in danger. And later on, once I was able to know that that person was secured, I was given permission to put it back up. So I posted it back up with an explanation. So what did young Pharaoh do to prompt me to give this address? Now, I hope somebody tagged him on the video that I was going to be coming on here, because I want him to see this. I am very, very proud of young Pharaoh to begin with, for his courage and for his determination to deliver what he perceived as the truth against all odds, because he don't even understand the odds he's facing when he's addressing certain issue, or he have the courage to withstand the backlash of those odds. And his delivery style remind me of me when I was his age. You know, it's raw, it's untempered, and it's also lack the depth that his elders around him should be feeding him, unless they surface dwellers. Because when you surface dwelling, you can't get to the bottom of anything. And so young Pharaoh did two speeches. The first one, he said that Farrakhan was clout chasing at the Nipsey Hussle send-off ceremony. He don't know what he's talking about, because he do not understand that this is bigger than that. Ceremony was more than just what you would call in modern America a funeral. That wasn't just a funeral. And I'm not going to go too much into that right now, because I touched on it in the Tupac video. The second thing that young Pharaoh did was a documentary that came out a day or two ago called Malcolm X Revenge. Now, I'm going to tell everybody, after I talk to the ministers in the nation, the real deal about what happened with Malcolm. But before I can go public with that, I absolutely have to tell Fruit members first. Now, mind you, I'm not in the Nation of Islam as a standing member. I've studied their doctrine, but I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. I have been called to the ranks of the righteous, so I have to address anything that can cause us a setback in the transition of power from what we were to what we are about to become. And so, why would I address young Pharaoh? It's because I like young Pharaoh. I genuinely like the brother, and I like the methods, and I got a lot of research that I would like to share with him in order to make sure that he walked flawlessly along his path, because he got the skills to pay the bills. He know how to deliver the information, but he's not getting depth information. He's getting the surface dwelling, divide and conquer information. He's not getting the unity doctrine. Whoever his elders are, they need to go back to the drawing board, because if they knew how to read the signs and they knew what they're supposed to be doing, then they would be teaching him the unity doctrine. They would know if they was truly raised in past masters as they claim to be. They would know. And they would not be sending Pharaoh out here to attack somebody without knowing some of the secrets of secrets, so to speak. And when I say secrets of secrets, the brothers in the lodge, in the shrine, the Templars, they all know what I'm talking about. But many of the lay person, the average person that get up in the morning and go work a job 9 to 5, pay their bills, and don't worry about what's going on in the world, they have no clue. We are living in what you call a bifurcated world. Our world is broke up into two parts, the spiritual world and the physical world. And so what we see with the naked physical eye is not necessarily the spiritual essence behind it or the spiritual catalyst or motivator. In saying that, the Malcolm X situation is not what we think it is. Now, I got to say this about what young Pharaoh, because I listened intently. On the surface, everything that he said is correct on the surface. Everything he said correct on the surface. But he don't understand the motivators. He don't understand the fact that we coming out of a redemption process for those who allowed some atrocities to take place on earth that allowed us to be persecuted as we persecuted others for a prolonged period of time, much longer than 400 years that we've been suffering. And so, because Pharaoh's elders are not getting him the correct information to effectively deal with this situation, deal with this matter, I'm offering. So anybody know young Pharaoh, put him on my page. He inboxed me one time. I'll give him my number and he'll have all of the information I got access to, and I'll give him all of the references he needs in order for him to stop launching this futile attack against Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Because when he see what's coming next, his mouth gonna hit the floor, as will most people, because they think they know, but they don't. Now, so this goes to Pharaoh, Polite, Crumb, all of them Setis, Sutan Seti, Sarah Seti, the Flat Earthers, the Hollow Earthers. We cannot continue to bicker and fight each other and claim we are trying to get from under an oppression. As long as we bickering and fighting each other and we talking about we trying to get from under this oppression, this is the changing of the guard. And there's only two things required. And that's to respect the women and to stop fighting each other. That's it. Respect the women, follow the unity doctrine. If you don't know how to source the information, it's real easy, but I will show you if you haven't done it yet. And that's anybody who want to get out from under this misery. As Malcolm said, I'm willing to work with anybody that's sick of this miserable condition on earth. So, the unity doctrine ties into the secret societies. It ties into the secret societies in the black community. It ties into the Prince Hall Masons. It ties into the Shriners. It ties into all of the Templars. All of this goes back to the unity doctrine, being that if you want to, okay, the prophecies say it. Now, if it's a prophecy, there's a series of signs in place to read a prophecy. So if the prophecy is put in place, that means that prophecy is revealing what they call a divine plan. In other words, what's a prophecy to the human is God's plan. God planned it. That means that he got an end date. He got a beginning date. And he got all of the filler in the middle. So if you don't know the signs, you cannot read the message that God gave us. And if you can't read the message, then you should be quiet until you are either instructed in the proper discernment of the prophecy and the signs and how they apply. So for years, I wouldn't talk publicly about any of this. I felt like as long as these brothers want to continue to debate and bicker with each other, there is no reason for me to participate in the insanity of divide and conquer. That's the main obstacle to our progress. There's two obstacles to the progress of liberation of Earth. I ain't talking about just the black people, and I ain't talking about just the Hispanic people, and I ain't talking about just the Asian people, and I ain't talking about just people that say they Israel. I'm talking about the entire 6 sectillion ton of Earth. The whole population, the 8.3 billion, is only two obstacles to liberation and prosperity. And those two obstacles is divide and conquer, is the first obstacle. And the second obstacle is pure, unadulterated, selfish greed. Everybody chasing this dollar like this is the end all, the be all. The dollar is not it. It's the distraction. The dollar is the mark. It is the mark of a man. If you look on every bill, there's a face of a dead president. It's the mark. It's just a mark, but it's not the beast. The one who controls the money, the one behind the dollar is the beast. And everybody gonna say, well, it's the Jews. No, they work for somebody. They all work for somebody till you get to the last person. You got to trace the dollar to the last. There's no higher person that you can trace this dollar to. That's when you know that you found the Pope. Because the Pope is the one who issued the order, what they call the white man's burden, to enslave Africans and sack Africa against the divine law. Mind you, Africa was off limits for this cleanup of this Babylonian bull smack. Africa was sacked against the orders of the Creator, of the King of the gods, the Most High. Africa was not supposed to be touched, but they did it anyway. We over here set up 13 colonies. We allowed Europe to set up 13 colonies for this stuff. These 13 colonies was given land grants in order to be able to survive. These people never had, those colonist people, the people that were those colonists, came from various parts of Europe, but they never had an empire or civilization. They didn't have a mark in the history books. They had to have that for the age to close. Everybody has to have the opportunity to have ruled this planet at one time before we move into a fifth dimensional framework. But the average person is too naive. See, we get these schools of thought. What is a school of thought? It's a way that you look at the truth. Everybody don't look at it the same. So when you go to the Middle East, when you go to the Middle East, you include in the liberation and spiritual doctrine the culture of Arabs and call it Islam. That's not Islam. That's Arab culture and Islam. That's why the nation of Islam look different. They not Arabs. Farrakhan has said that I don't know how many times. We not Arabs. We over here. We dress how we dress because our founder gave us this because we were not Arabs. But when Siraj Wahaj, Bilal Phillips, and Wharfdeen Muhammad all go put on these jalabiyas, then y'all think they more Muslim because they put on a gown. That don't make you more Muslim because you know how to cross dress now. That's not practical to walk around with a jalabiya in New York and some sandals in the wintertime. That's not practical. No righteous guy gonna tell you to do something that damn dumb. I want you to wear a jalabiya and some sandals. But in the Middle East, they don't wear fur coats. Right? They don't wear fur coats in the Middle East. It's too hot. But over here, you might need a fur coat because it's too cold. So, for young Pharaoh to understand this, I gotta say this. I'm gonna give you all of the answers. But first, I have to talk to the ministers in the nation first. They have to have first right of defense for the minister. They have to have the first right to defend the minister against the allegations. And I have been given the information. This is the information that, because these are the grievances I personally had with Farrakhan, and before I would be willing to offer my hand and work with him, these issues had to be cleared up. My issue was Khalid Muhammad. Yeah, they cleared it up with the facts. I can tell you everything what went wrong with that situation. With Malcolm was the biggest hurdle. I turned Farrakhan down, working with Farrakhan down we could have been doing this 5 years ago. But I was resistant to Farrakhan and working with Farrakhan because of Malcolm. And so in the sacred halls, they brought me Malcolm. And Malcolm thought it was a joke to accuse Farrakhan in his low level of ranking with having an instrumental role in his assassination when he had no juice. And that's the most I can say about that at this point. Now, the next thing is this. Young Pharaoh, you have a powerful voice for the youth and a powerful voice for our people. You have two ways that you can use that voice. You can use that voice to destroy us more with this divide and conquer bullshit. Or you can find some facts and you can get to know some people personally as opposed to attacking them. You can't attack everybody because you'd have no alliances. You have no alliances. You can never break this oppression without making alliances. The Bloods and the Crips got to join together. The Vice Lords and the GDs got to join together. It's written. This is all part of the redemption process. All of this stuff is written about. So as long as we can sit here and bulldog and fight and scratch out with each other, somebody else is spectating. Who is the spectator watching the fiasco of us going at each other's throat and going at each other's head? There's only two positions in this end game, and that's righteous and unrighteous. So we have to determine what side of the coin we're going to be on. We don't have to agree. This is what y'all not understanding. We don't have to agree word for word, letter for letter with anybody's doctrine. The only agreement we need to make is that we tired of the oppression, and whatever it takes to overcome it, I'm with whoever willing to overcome the oppression. When we understand that, we ain't got to fight each other no more, and the oppression will melt off of us. See, now, there's probably some white people watching this, but I'm talking to black people in this video specifically. Let me tell y'all this. White people is waiting on black people in America to say enough is enough without having to get ignorant. In other words, they waiting on us to come with a sensible description of the situation that can be verified through a historical timeline. And by doing this, they already know their position. That's all we have to do. Stop fighting each other, lay the timeline down. Show it to them. It's right there in our face. We've been told history according to the oppressive regime of our oppressor. So, what do? Stop attacking each other. Start working with each other. Young Pharaoh, if you want to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem, your first order of business should be do a powerful unity video with BNX or with Prince York or any of those guys that's out there trying to wake people up. Y'all have to come together. Y'all are the most powerful voices that's being most misused in our community right now. Y'all are the voice of the African American web, the black web, the Moorish web. Y'all our voice. And as long as y'all fighting each other and chopping each other's leadership down, all y'all doing is adding to the problem. Stop adding to the problem and add to the solution. Let's talk about Dr. Sebi, Nipsey, and Farrakhan dynamic. Young Pharaoh said that he was clout chasing Nipsey because he didn't support Dr. Sebi when Dr. Sebi came to him for some money. Now, there's a reason for that young Pharaoh has no clue. Farrakhan was barred by God, not by man. As was all of us that look like this, that's Grail Kings. We were barred from look who I got here. You always make me smile when I see
you. Always make me smile when I see you. Do you hear me?
That's what my boy Rashad called reflections.
Oh. I'm glad I caught you because, and I'm not going to hold you. I just wanted to, first of all, thank you so much. You are really heaven sent, for real. And Second of all, how are we dealing as women and raising the matriarchy? How are we supposed to deal with these people that even look like us but aren't us, and moving them out? Right.
Y'all only have to weed out the women. Y'all gonna know them. All of them riding crotch bitches, no good. Y'all know them. They can't get along with no woman, no way.
They can't.
So y'all deal with the women. They can't get along with women.
So what if there's no men around, though, to deal with someone, especially in a workplace situation that affects kids? And that's the only reason I even care, is because, and not to even throw this on to people who even watching, because it's a little bit of a trigger, but there was a young woman. We work with people who are 16 to 25-year-old high school dropouts. So this person was within that age range on the younger side. And longest of long story short, she was pregnant and didn't want to say anything because her uncle had been molesting her, and she wasn't sure whose baby it was, her boyfriend's or hers. And she just didn't want to tell the boyfriend that she was pregnant, point blank period, but she wanted the baby, right? So around the person who's coordinating this, the person who's in charge, is just like, oh, well, we can't really do anything. And I'm just like, what you mean we can't do anything? And they're like, well, she don't want to press charges. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. She don't want to press charges, but y'all all know. So y'all like this just like,
what city you in?
You know, I'm in Jersey, in Newark.
It's somebody there. I'll talk to you offline.
Okay.
It's somebody there that they're gonna send some sisters to talk to her to get her sister protection, and then they're gonna deal with the rest of the matter, how they deal with it.
Okay.
But the first thing they want to do is secure her. They want to get her out of this situation where you got some grown ass man molesting her. It's somebody in Newark. There's some goons in Newark. And if they find out, they're gonna, it won't be pretty for them.
All right.
There's some goons they on the side of Shakur watch when this shit flip. And she's merciless to molesters, so.
For sure. Yeah.
If she get an order, half of Newark gonna be at that motherfucker door. I just got to tell you what's the 100. If she get a word, Asada Shakur get a word, half of Newark, half of motherfucking Orange, New Jersey, motherfucking from New York, Maryland, they gonna be there. Boston, Philly, they coming. Just to deal with one child, they will come from everywhere when she get an order. We trying to get the big fish out the pond first. Then we gonna deal with the little fish at home. Because that secret squirrel shit is what got these kids fucked up right now.
In the first place, exactly.
See, it had got to a point where it was so few good men that hadn't been murdered yet or lynched that the women cherished them so much that it allowed the children to be abused, because the few good men they had, they didn't want him to correct the bad man because the slave catcher gonna come. Right? And when the slave catcher come, they're going to put him on the auction block and sell him into slavery. Slavery today is called prison. They don't want the good man correcting the bad man, because the good man going to be the one doing time. So the women start keeping this shit a secret to try to protect the good man. Fuck that shit. That's what we here for. I go do my goddamn time. I go sit back with my feet up and read a couple more 1,000 books.
Niggas ain't like that. That's why.
That's why I ain't no nigga.
No, I'm just saying, you know, I know that. Said that's why I ain't no nigga. No, that shit pisses me off though, for real. But yeah. Yeah,
so the situation has to be handled in a particular way. So I have to tell you certain stuff offline. Not because I'm keeping it a secret. It's because the people who you have to contact, they can't be exposed right now. and they really deaf on them women beaters and child molesters, they get treated like they would in old school penitentiary, especially when it's known to be true. Because they've been using a lot of false allegations also to remove the good men and let the bad man stay. So people start accusing the good man of doing what the bad man doing, and then the good man doing time for nothing. He didn't do nothing. He's sitting up in jail rotting, while the rotten motherfuckers is sitting out here flourishing and making more rotten fruit. Because mama said one bad fruit spoiled a whole bunch.
I think that you're absolutely right when you say the men got to handle it. It's just, you know, that part where it is something to consider, especially because the police being involved take it to a different level for everybody. But
you know, my philosophy is fuck the police.
Fuck the police, exactly.
I deal with that nigga myself before I call the police on him. I'm not calling the police on the motherfucker. That's why I be like, fuck all that old, because I was finna get into the shenanigans on some arguing across the internet. I thought about that shit. All them niggas gonna do is call the police.
All I think it's gonna do is call the police.
That's what they inadvertently trying to dry snitching, or as it is trying to call the police, but they trying to get a police evidence the police already got, and they took at them like, nigga, we already know that shit.
Next.
We just not figured that out. But this so I was thinking about it. I was like, shit, because you know I'm the type of motherfucker, I pull up at a motherfucker spot. I don't got no problem with it. I don't give a fuck if I had to walk from here, from Detroit, Michigan to Phoenix, Arizona to pull up on a motherfucker. And it might take me a year to walk that distance. But I tell you what, when I get there, I'm gonna pull the fuck up. And I'm not coming to argue. I could have did that shit over the internet.
On the phone, right.
Right. So why would I do all that tongue wrestling if we ain't gonna fight? And if we gonna fight, why am I gonna do all that tongue wrestling? I might as well just go and fight. Right? Because all that tongue wrestling gonna lead to a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day.
And then if the tongue wrestling gonna lead to a fight, then I might as well not tongue wrestling. Just cut out the middleman. Cut out the middleman.
So I got one more question. So for men or women who have love interests, relationships, I know we're not technically focusing on thinking with our P's, but we're talking past that. We're talking about growth and development in all types of relationships, even with people you have, you know, children with and stuff like that, and trying to just elevate, even if it's just, you know, a co-parenting type of thing. That, and women going through that as we raise the matriarchy. What is that looking like?
Okay. You kind of like paused for a minute and I kind of lost track of the question.
Summed it up, because men and women who are not together, but like still have to coexist with each other, not thinking with their P's.
Yeah. So most of them in the hostile relationships, in the matriarchy, when the two parents can't talk civilly to each other about the child and make competent civil decisions about the child, then both of the mothers have to come up with the solution between the family elders on both sides of the family. No side left out. But the individuals that can't get their act together, they ain't got no say. They too busy doing, 3D shit. Thinking with their D's and their P's. Right? So as long as they doing that, but if, let's say one of them is trying to do the right thing and they fighting the other one, and the other one is just trying to be in control. When you present the matter to the elders on both sides, they come up with a solution that's in the interest of the child. They don't give a fuck about their parent. Because sometimes the solution requires the grandparents to take the child from both parents. And both grandparents is going to agree because it's in the best interest of the child. And that's how come Big Mama house always got so many kids. And so many aunties always work there.
It was some women who, it was a young girl at my mom's job who gave her baby away to diapers to Child Protective Services, but nobody knew. The dad didn't know and the grandmother didn't know, and it was because she didn't want to. It should just be crazy, and the shit that people deal with, like on a just even hearing these stories. I don't, like I said, I don't be meaning to put this on people, but what you just said is like true. But
so in the case where the because it's gonna be it's a lot of cases right now, like you said, where the men don't even know he got a child.
mm-hmm.
Right? So in cases like that, her family still got to hold her accountable. Right? And take her ass on Maury, take all 725 of them niggas you fucked up till you find that baby daddy. And sometimes you're going to find the baby daddy out of that 725 niggas she was fucking because he's somebody closely related to her that she don't want to tell on. Or she, you know, she already suspected, she might not know it, like the situation you mentioned earlier, she don't know if it's her boyfriends or uncles. That shouldn't even be a motherfucking question in her mind. Because that question exists, that means something is out of order. Right? So she'd probably take 50 innocent motherfuckers on Maury before she took her uncle. And everybody come back, he is not the father. He is not the, like, goddamn. And then we in our ignorance, not knowing what's going on, don't know why she can't figure out who her baby daddy is. Shit, it might be her goddamn daddy's baby. You never know.
Let's come in. Maybe some guys or something. I don't know. But we'll talk.
Yeah. A question, it's a good question popped up. It say, how do one seek and commit to a tribe if they have no living close relatives or kinfolks to reach out to? So those are called orphans on the land. And they pick, the tribe that picked them is the tribe they gonna pick. You will know them because those are the people you with every day. Spending your time with, giving your love energy to. Right? So one of the things we teach the children under a matriarchy is be careful who you give your love energy to. Because if you give it to the wrong person, it'll drain you. Because they only have bad intentions for you, but they held secret places in their dark hearts. But the ones that, when you are orphan, the ones who are that you draw to, you natural affinity to, the earth, humans pack animals. The frequency of the earth is going to move us to the pack that is ready to receive us as an orphan. So this is how you end up in South Central with an all-black Crips gang, and here you got a white boy in there. Where the fuck he come from? He got his one drop of blood, and nature sent him there. She sent him there to prove his one drop of blood qualification, because if the brothers in his neighborhood accept him, he ain't gonna betray that trust. That's that drop of blood that makes him not betray that trust. He don't give a fuck how many racists tell him he should be racist. It don't fit in his paradigm if he got that one drop of blood, because them is his brothers. He don't see their color. He only see his tribal colors. That's it. And this is how you know and you gravitate towards your tribe, even when you don't know where your tribe at. You look around, and the people that give you love freely just because they feel like it, right? And they love you just because it's free. I can love you for free. Come on over here and get some of this love. Come to the barbecue. We love to see you there. You get to the barbecue, they treat you like you've been a special member of the family the whole time.
Like, hey, cousin.
Right? And, yeah, and you ain't never seen these people a day in your life. And they treating you like gold. Why they treating me so good? This your tribe, motherfucker. They glad to see you brought your ass back home. At least that's what they used to tell me when I get there. I know you folks, but you rock with the Stones, man. Come on, folks. You can rock with the Stones today.
So video was when you said you be flipping just to throw the algorithm off. I was like, he absolutely did this. Sometimes you really can't keep up. Oh, but when you do,
Hey,
this shit crazy. This shit's crazy.
Look, the AI can't keep up. But them gangbangers and them thug niggas be matching every motherfucking flip. The same shit I be doing with the words is what they be doing with their hands. The same shit. I'm just using words. They just throwing up they set. I'm going in, I'm using the pattern, the speech pattern that's signatured after the subconscious mind organizing of information, so that I can connect as many dots as possible in your subconscious mind in order to polish the mirror that's called the black dot. Once that mirror is polished, you see clearly you don't need me no more. And I'm just trying to make it as many motherfuckers not need me as possible.
Fine. I hear you. I hear you. Now that's dope. And that's how I got into the whole human design, which kind of took me because I heard about it years ago, but then.
Yeah, that's the great arcana I was talking about in the last video.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, human design, the great arcana, the great work. The work of building Solomon's temple, the temple of man.
That's exactly what it is.
Right. And the temple of man houses Solomon, the soul of man.
Yeah, right.
Right. And Solomon has to go into the shrine in order to find out who is the Black Madonna so he can get his blessing from Big Mama.
So then
the Black Madonna is the next heir to be Grand Matriarch. See, they don't tell you the structure that it is the papal, the Roman Catholic Church is patterned off the civil priestesses. The only one supposed to wear black is the one who sits on the Queen of Heaven and Earth seat that they keep suspended in the air, because if a man sit in it, they automatically lose patriarchal rights all over the earth instantly. So before they make that mistake of letting the janitor come through mopping and sit his ass in it, they elevated that bitch 30 feet in the sky in the church. And you can look that shit up to see it yourself if you don't believe me. And the Pope chair sit under the motherfucker. And then they told us we was one nation under God. They never told us she wasn't in her seat right now. That's the great work. And that shit works great when it's in its proper motherfucking order. Put the power where the power goes. Shit run the way it's supposed to run. That's the simplest explanation of matriarchy.
It is.
Put the power where it's supposed to go, and it'll run the way it's supposed to run according to the laws of nature. We elephants in human form. Look at the elephant. Watch how they do. You don't even see a bull elephant until distress come, and you don't even hear Big Mama, the Queen Matriarch, call his ass until you see that motherfucker busting out of nowhere. Where did this big burly motherfucker come from?
I'm charging from. You're right, actually.
Yeah, because she's sending him messages in the ground. He don't walk with the women and the children. Him and the mother and them young bull males are out on the periphery. They patrolling the outskirts of where the women is. And as soon as the matriarch pound on that motherfucking ground and get that low grunt and they feel that rumble in the earth, it ain't enough lions in the motherfucking jungle to stop the motherfucking bull elephants from seeing what Big Mama wants. And Angel Bay a bull elephant. But he is Chicago bull. A big ass moose. He's a bison that won't be moved. And he in the rut. That means he ready to go. And Boy Blue, the crooked man, that nigga ready to walk. That's Big Tookie, the king crab. He don't fit in no fucking bucket, so he can't be part of no crab in the bucket shit. He don't even fit in the bucket. So the king crab is the crab that can walk over the bucket and get all the crabs out if you give him a chance. They thought he was dead because they packed him on ice. But now man on ice is a soul on fire. They done fucked up. That's going to be the shocker because they told us he was dead. Lying motherfuckers.
They told us he was dead. Oh my God. They really did. They televised it. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Made articles about it and all kind of shit.
All kind of shit. Oh my God.
But I already knew since the 60s they wasn't going to be able to kill him because Eldridge Cleaver told me. When he wrote that hard-ass book called Soul on Ice, and then he wrote that bullshit called Soul on Fire. Then he flipped that shit, and then it came through a Wes Craven shocker off of a motherfucking Eazy-E Ice Cube beef. Right? So there was a Lethal Injection straight out of Compton off of a West Side Connection, making niggas bow down when they come to our town. When they westward bound, fool. I ain't a hater like you. Bow down to a player that's greater than you. At this game we playing called the knockaround game, where we be knocking motherfuckers around, but only the gorillas stand up because the rest of them niggas getting knocked down. They done fucked around and let the gorillas come through the gate. And that's how the GDs got in the dope, off Gorilla Ride. That's GD Ride. They didn't even see it coming because they was watching the Flash when I motherfucking telepathically connected with their ass. So now you got motherfucking G's in all the streets that's starting to see who we really be. And what did DMX say? They don't even know who we be. They don't know who we be. But we know who we be.
We know who we be.
Right?
Oh my God.
We know who we be. Real recognize real, and a lot of ours are starting to look real familiar now.
All right. Cool. I can take that. I appreciate you, as always.
All the time. I'm gonna see if I can get some questions on the men in the matriarchy.
All right. Take it easy.
Okay, sweetie.
Bye.
All right.
But you gotta X me out.
I got you.
All right.
Translate blood shield as Rothschild. Nobody never do no real research on the Rothschilds. They find that not a single Rothschild had a personal bank account with any money in it. Everything they did was through the foundation. Right? Why did they do everything through the foundation? Because the foundation is predicated upon stolen items from here. In the ancient code of thieves is updated. It's called the Uniform Commercial Code. They can live off of it until the people who owns it reclaims it. Then they have to return it back to them with just compensation. That's why we're not eligible for reparations, because they just sitting on our shit, our wealth. The Americas was the wealthiest land in the world because the way that the people treated each other. Money wasn't the driving force. The love for your family was the driving force of everything we did. And that's the part that they couldn't understand when they got over here, because they believe in family feuds.
Yeah, I mean, I read a book, and I don't know whether it was was it what so-called what somebody we know that's allegedly supposed to be famous quoted that when they got here, the people of the land, they were peaceable people. They were this everything they wrote, what they encountered, if they were telling the truth, spoke to definitely not anybody who was savage or coming out of caves or anything. It was well established societies and laws and whatever that governed them. But
yeah, they burned down our cities and flooded them out, blew them up with dynamite. We had massive structures over here. Chicago always been a metropolis for thousands of years, the same as New Orleans, the same as Detroit, the same as New York. Right? Those always been metropolises. This is what the World Fairs was filming.
Was that a cover up though? They were actually these were
they had to keep a record. Look, they had to keep a record of it before they tore it down.
Right, but they made pretend they had established these buildings as temporary World's Fairs, whatever. But you couldn't even hardly take them down because they had been up so long. Am I correct?
Right. That's when they came in with the dynamite and the demolition. So that's why you got the Great Fire of Los Angeles, the Great Fire of Chicago, the Great Fire of Miami. Florida used to be full of trees like the California redwood forest, and the people lived in the treetops and on the bottom of the trees. Those became known as, they started calling them Seminoles when they realized that they were a mixture of every tribe across the land. The Seminole means that they mix. It's a mixed tribe. But the tribes came as far away as the Polynesian Islands to fight in the Seminole Wars. That's where the war was taking place.
Wow.
So they backdoored us on the Louisiana Purchase. Whole tribes that moved their families closer to Florida so that their soldiers, their sons, can go fight in the wars. We were settling Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Louisiana. We drop our families off there with big mamas, and then we go fight in the wars. Well, we left castles empty. We left villages empty, like the Pueblo in Colorado. We did the whole clan just got up. We finna go kick some ass. And now when they do the Louisiana Purchase, they declared that we abandoned the land, and as the protectorate, they had the right to resettle it. And that's the reason why that's how they violate the treaties, with the trick of the language, what they call legalese.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you abandon it, they got the right to claim it till you come back home.
Well, isn't that the same thing now when it comes down to foreclosures and so forth? You get the notification, and some folks stand their ground and stay in their property, but as soon as you move out, they say abandon it. So the initial reason why they're going to take the property goes out the window. You abandoned it. It's like, finders keepers, losers weepers, so to speak.
So the people that settle the land become squatters.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they come up with something called squatters' rights. It's called, in ancient law, it's called the right of fair use. If you ain't using it in its workable condition, somebody who's willing to use it and maintain the condition can use it.
Well, why doesn't that rule apply now with all these vacant buildings and so forth that are around because people have abandoned them, for so-called economic reasons? Why is it that when if someone was to take over and say, look, I'm going to do something else with this, it now's a crime? Because
they got to first tie you to the paper chain. In other words, an adhesion contract. The property not changing hands under the corporate jurisdiction of the United States unless somebody's putting something on paper. They got to know who got your land and who hands has been through before you take it back, so they can know what they owe you.
And how does one do that?
They gonna tell you. This whole system is over. The United States corporation has been dethroned, so to speak. We under the Indigenous Rights Act now. We in the middle of continuity of government transfer. That's why the borders has been closed for almost 2 years.
From what I hear, the borders are being flooded by, so-called.
Oh, I'm talking about the ports. All those ships that's still sitting on the ocean. You can't have a government transfer and have your ports open. That's ancient knowledge. Anytime you transfer in government, you have to close the port so you don't allow yourself to the opportunity to be invaded by a foreign force
while the government is in transition.
But the foreign force is right here on the land,
But
as well as outside the land too.
Right, but they in the process of being exiled from the land.
Well, they're not going down without a fight, because it seems like before they go out, they're trying to throw every, bit of mandate laws or whatever those things that that mandate.
A mandate is just a suggestion. That's not a law.
Okay.
It's just a suggestion.
Okay. But we don't know that, and so if you just like, I guess, the illegality of income tax, it's a voluntary thing, but if you acquiesce and fill out their forms, then they have the right to apply.
Because you agreed to the contract. Then the contract becomes enforceable. The Internal Revenue Service is an independent tax collection agency. They debt collectors. That's all they are. You audit yourself when you do the paperwork for them. So they allowing you to audit yourself. And tell them if you owe them anything.
I was told that they were getting ready to institute some new procedure, like in 2024. I think it's like 2024. Is it 2023? That they're going to already send you the tax paperwork filled out based on the information they've gotten in, and they're going to send you your tax, your whatever your 1040 or whatever you do, 1040. And then they're going to say, this is what you owe, or this is what you get back, because they're going to do it based on what they've gotten in. So which means they're probably going to disallow all of the deductions and all these things, so that they're just going to send it to you. I'm hoping that that's a fraudulent thing that was told to me.
Everything they're doing is fraudulent. They are illegally occupying the territory under false pretenses. That make every contract that they ever sign void, because it's a constructed fraud. That's why they don't never honor none of their treaties. If you ask this Grand Sheik, if you say, Taj, why they don't honor none of their treaties, he probably be like, I don't know. They just evil like that. No, they don't honor the treaties because they never made them with the people from the land in the first place.
That's the part, because who knew, that they were making deals with folks that look like us that were not us.
No, the people that look like us brought $5 Indians over here.
And they made it with them. And they're the ones they made the contracts with. So that's why that group was recently able to get that land in, was it Colorado? Where was it?
All that smoke and mirrors.
Oh, so it really isn't what.
Look, those $5 Indians, when they got over here, they came as the indentured servants. They were originally prisoners of war from the Mongol Empire war with the Romans, and the Huns wars with the Romans, where they was taking slaves as spoils of war. They also brought some that come from what we call Hindustan, and they brought them over here, and this is the group we see doing all our rituals. The question is, how did they learn our rituals?
What rituals are those?
All of the dances, the things to do with the feathers, the peyote ceremonies.
Oh, okay.
Our rituals.
And they have the powwows. Those folks having the.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all that's our stuff. So when they was on the Trail of Tears, they was kicking the ones that looked like me and you off in the southern states. And the ones that they brought over here that passed off as Dawes Road's $5 Indians, they marched them onto reservations. And them the ones they wrote the treaties with, so they can make us believe that we came from somewhere else. And none of our ancestors signed treaties with them. We didn't believe in that. We didn't believe in their style of contract law. We believed in a man say what he gonna do, and that's what he do, and he shake hands on it, and that's bounding before man and God. They needed the paperwork in order to keep us constantly recontracting with them with paperwork. That's why anything that you file with the system, whether you put them on notice, if you send them a legal form to put them on notice, you just made an adhesion contract recognizing their superior jurisdiction.
Can you repeat that, please? I heard what you said, but can you say that again, please?
Yeah. Anytime you file paperwork with them, any kind of legal forms, even if it's putting them on notice,
you are agreeing to their superior jurisdiction over you in status. Nobody that is organic to the land, right, need to file any paperwork with anybody on the land because they from here. You organic to the land. You before a Native American. You before an Indian. You before all that shit. You before the Moors. But they don't want you to know it. So they scrambled this egg up in legalese. It's all tied up in the legalese, in the application of the law. And this is what Ty's been telling them for the longest. If you don't understand these legal terms, you wasting your time. How many times you heard him say that?
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that folks are trying to do things to at least make the declaration. But what you're saying is you don't have a problem with the proclamation of one.
You're supposed to do it under our culture. It's done orally, and it's done in the public domain in an archivable format. Years ago, before the invaders came, when we had a public declaration to make, we used to have somebody called the city or the town clerk read it in the town square.
Yeah, they would have, but they would read.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's who you went to. That's what their job was, is to put in the public domain your declaration. That's why they used to read off childbirths. Such and such and such and such. Chief Littlehorn was born to so-and-so and such on this day and at this time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's letting everybody know of the new births that's taking place in the community. And it's keeping the community tight-knit. This is all under the matriarchy.
Speak about that, because we talked about that too, that, one of the big issues, and even Prophet Noble Drew Ali spoke about it. When you look at the question, the 101s, there you have him with, the woman who's in, I don't know whether she's asleep or unconscious or what, but humanity's written on her womb. And it's going to take the matriarchy to be restored to its rightful place in order to do what needs to be done. But we see all these things rising up. They're very patriarchal, even from our so-called people.
Yeah.
Speak on that, please.
So the whole purpose of the patriarchy was to restrict our family ties and to minimize the bloodline. They was trying to kill us off. You got to remember that. If you ever let it out, when you're doing the research, if you ever let it out your mind today, all this mean that all of these things go with them killing us off on the land. Right? So they couldn't understand why the harder they press us, the faster we proliferate. Right? And if they try to take their foot off our neck, the faster we rise up in all fields of science, government, economics, entertainment, everything else. If they take their foot off our neck, we start rising in those aspects. So now they didn't know what to do. They can't keep us down because we propagate. When you oppress us, we start having babies like rabbits. But when you take the oppression off us and start taking your foot off our neck, then we start having the smaller families, 1 and 2 kids, because we're so busy excelling in whatever part of your society you say we can't conquer. Mm-hmm. Just to show you we can conquer it.
And then the latest agenda is that, that trans, that.
Right, that's to underline the males. The masculine is not fit to rule if he's been anally penetrated.
So a lot of their rituals in the music industry and the entertainment industry includes that happening.
Yeah, they sodomize them so that they're not fit to rule. That way, if they ever get the following to rule, they're going to end up having a heart attack or a stroke from the spirit side because they root chakra has been shattered. It's called a shattered oracle ritual that they're doing. It's a sex ritual, and it's out of the Babylonian sex magic.
Wow. Everything
they doing in this government is designed to make me and you think we came over on a ship. That's it. Ain't no further addition or subtraction, then that's the bottom line. As long as we think we came on ships and we not from over here, we will never reclaim what's rightfully ours.
But let me back up a little bit. Yes, we didn't come over on ships, but people that look like us are everywhere, or
globally
on the planet. I know when I used to read the Bible, I used to think in terms of like where, because I didn't know anything about being a Moor, but where did people like me or United States at the time, where did we figure in into this Bible story and into this
we don't.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, these prophecies and so forth. And so now that I know what I know, I'm thinking that while some things were going on or some things were being created as if they had gone on, there were people who lived in other parts, hence where we are now, who were here, had been here, and that the narrative was created, that the biblical narrative and even the so-called like maybe Jewish and Islamic, some of those were created. I call them like sort of 3 levels of like catch-all. Like if we can't get you in this one, you get you in that one. If we don't get you in this one, because we created them all from the same pot or the same.
Well, Christianity was created before Judaism.
Okay, but it was written. They wrote it as if in the book, as if it
because they wrote Judaism to give Christianity a backstory.
Okay, well, we would say when I was in Bible college, they would say the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed, and the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed, or something like that. That's what they would say. And then there was this period in between they called 400 silent years when they said God didn't speak. But what I've surmised since then is that those were years when the I don't know what family it was, the Piso family and so forth, and their generations were actually crafting the narrative and making these, trying to make these books be, to coincide and balance.
You ever heard of a Maccabees Bible?
I've heard of Maccabees, yes.
Okay, that's the Catholic Bible. It's 14 books between Malachi and Matthew.
The Apocrypha.
Right. That's what they call them. Now, Apocrypha means hidden.
Right.
When Martin Luther rebelled, in order for them to paint the narrative they want to, that there was 400 years between Malachi and Matthew, they had to take out those other books.
Okay.
Right. When you look, it's 14 of them. But when they was putting the original manuscript together, they was doing that in Nicaea.
Okay, in the 325 AD.
Right. Under Constantine.
Right.
Right. While they was putting that together, they had grabbed what we call priests from varying different backgrounds to consolidate the text and form what they call the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The Bible now has 66 books, but under the Catholics, it has 80. Right. So that's showing you right there that even the Christians don't agree with Christianity. But they want us to fall for it hook, line, and sinker.
Absolutely.
They mistranslate words and terms on purpose to confuse the reader into following the narrative that they paint. This is the dogma aspect of the morals and dogma.
Mm.
Right. So they first created Christianity for Rome to conquer the world. But when there were certain groups of people that didn't accept Christianity, they infiltrated their culture and attached it to the church. Example, the Quran of the Muslims, the Al-Quran, is got chapters to Mary, chapters to Isa, right?
Right.
It was written by Muhammad, supposed to have been an Arab prophet. And his counselors were all Catholic priests. Khadijah, his first wife, was a high-ranking Catholic nun. So his influence for Islam, it even tells him in the Quran, and say, if you have any doubt, O Muhammad, in what we speak, consult the scholars from the scriptures of old. Talking about the Bible. In other words, go ask your uncle Waraka, who wear this motherfucking father tie, if we telling you the story the way we want it told. But what they don't tell us is the whole narrative came out of a story that took place in Greece. Right? Where the 3 elders went to the servant, the faithful servant, in the garden or in the swinging gardens to impart upon him the knowledge. It's the same story. It's the same story as the 3 wise men. It's the 3 kings conjured.
Right.
Because before you raise the patriarchy, you got to have the 3 kings as the openers of the way.
speaking of the three kings, from my conversations with you, I may be wrong in my what I've surmised, but the three kings are a group, are I want to say from spiritual, if you will. They come in different dispensations.
Yeah.
And at this time, the kings have been held, so to speak. The current incarnation of kings are ones who have been given a really, I guess, negative, press and
Right.
and
So that's why remember COINTELPRO.
Mm-hmm.
Stop the rise of any potential messiah who could incite the masses. Right. And they have a list in CIA documents and FBI documents of who these leaders was that they was concerned could incite the masses. Chicago, they took out at least 400 of our leaders from the land that had the potential to lead us out of this condition. Most of them they murdered, but the ones
would these be like the so-called gang wars we thought?
Yeah. So they telling us it's gang wars, but none of the gang leaders is at war. Mm-hmm. But they put their kids in there with our kids, and they kids don't act like our kids.
Well, our children. Look, we're not gonna call them kids because those are baby goats. But I know what you mean. They put them together, but they've given them the narrative that we are at war, right? Is that why they're no? I've been told by some, that live in Chicago that there were times and some OGs when there would be open rail cars on the tracks with guns and ammunition, or in alleys, guns and ammunition were like left there for them to, and then they get knowledge that it's there, like, yeah, so and so, and a lot of what they got because it was put there.
Absolutely. The same in LA. Right. They have right now, they be hitting the freights. That's what they call it, hitting the freights. Mm-hmm. They hit the freights. They're supposed to get stuff like TVs, radios, clothes. Now you hitting the freights and you're getting AK-47s, MAC-10s, 45s, 380s. You're getting Glock, Beretta. You're getting a smorgasbord of firearms. Mm-hmm. We don't make them. So how is they getting into the hood? Somebody bringing them in there, and it ain't us, because we ain't making them. Mm-hmm. They telling us gun control. They telling us that the right to bear arms is for the purposes of going hunting, for recreational purposes. But that's not what the founding fathers of the so-called country said. They said that the right to bear arms was so that anytime this government goes astray from the principles of Constitution, that the citizen have a right to take up arms and replace the government. And they don't want you to know that, though.
Nothing just to bear arms for just any old dispute. You stepped on my lawn and I didn't get your...
It's specifically targeting government.
They don't say that.
It's in the Constitution. Matter of fact, in the Declaration of Independence, it tell you that at any time that the people become disenfranchised with the government, it is the duty of the people to take up arms and replace the government in a well-formed coup. It's right in the documents. But we don't have to use a military coup. All we have to do is claim our birthright, and that put us in control of all government, military, political, and economic events taking place on the land. Right? So we need to be able to call the three chiefs. What is their purpose? Right? So they had to form clans. We had to form clans. We had to reform the family across common bonds. They called it we was ganging. We was gang banging. Gang mean clan. So we was formulating clans. They was infiltrating the clans. And they was starting the wars between two clans who was formerly at peace. Right? So, like, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. This is well known in California after the Rodney King riots in 91. And the Bloods and Crips had something that they called the truth, where they tied their rags together. And the OGs said, we're going to stop killing each other and we're going to focus on this government. Within a week,
they start having drive-bys where you got Bloods visiting Crips. You got some strange Bloods trying to shoot up a Crip neighborhood. The Bloods telling them ain't us. They calling our set out, but we all here. So they end up shooting the cars up, find out they undercover police and FBI agents. So they've been turning us against each other the whole time, and we didn't even know it. And the motherfuckers behind it look like us. And we didn't even know it. That's my feelings got hurt the worst out of all of this shit that we've been through. And when I found out that the white man ain't white, and the people behind the dirt is dirty Moors, and they lying to the good Moors, but the good Moors is doing their
and they cast lots for the garment. The people weren't allowed to roam the free land, so you see Christ's crucifixion, feet nailed. All these things are legendary myths, and so you see us as we trying to see the riddle of life, and you go through the internalizing of the icon or the hero in the whole spirit of that hero in order to see from somebody else's eyes what they're looking at in order to find the key. Now, in the course of this, I have to learn how to read the signs through broken mirrors. It's called the shattered mirror effect. So all of these signs are scattered throughout my life, and I have to put life together in form. Now, point your joint to the sky, let off a round. No man couldn't feel that black man's pain. Okay, so now I'm about to go into my posts from today and kind of like touch on a couple of things. Today, a shyster was trying to get me to send him $700 for a $70,000 payout. He wanted me to send him $700 for a $7,000 payout. That gets my attention because the sevens is my number. What do this mean? So now I got to figure out what it means. So while I'm going through here, getting ready to pull my page up, and show y'all a couple of things. So that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. So now I got to go through all this, and I got to tie a couple of things in order. Finally, I get to reveal Isis, right? The Queen of Heaven and Earth as God. The Pope being on their seat. Now, there's one thing left. I got to restore the caliphate. In Islam, I have to restore the caliphate. That's going to be a task. Because the Quran that they have is not the Quran that was left to them. And when the patriarchs took over the Vatican and they destroyed all of the Hafiz, they killed all the Hafiz and burnt all of the legitimate copies of the Quran they could find except for the one they kept for archive in the Vatican. They replaced it with a book out of Rome and even the legends surrounding that after Muhammad, when they tried to destroy what they called the Alil Bayt, the family of the house. Now, what y'all not paying attention to is Muhammad had no wealth until he married Khadijah. She had joined the monastery of the Catholic Church and had gave her wealth to the church, but the church wanted to control Islam, so they gave her wealth back and told her to go marry Muhammad. That's matriarchal. So Khadijah was the Black Madonna that the Pope supplanted. When he pushed her out of the
Catholic Church in the Madonna seat, then Mother Khadijah was moved, right? So in order for her to be protected, Muhammad commissioned what we know today under the tents of Qadar as the Sharif. They were supposed to be guardians of the righteous. Now, how can I get to all to understand who Khadijah is? Right? This is the mother of the faithful in Islam, is what she's called, the mother of the faithful. Now, y'all got to pay attention, because we have to put the Madonna back in her seat. Now, Isis is referred to as Mary because the term Mary means rebellious woman. So in Islam, what took place was this. When they got Khadijah to marry Muhammad, through the family of the house, her house, swore to guard and protect the family of the house, the holy blood, the queen seat, or the high priestess seat of heaven and earth, Mother Khadijah. Now, I have to tie this back. I have to tie this back to Maryam. I got to tie this back to Mariama. This is Mosque Mariama in Chicago. Fruit on deck. So this is Mosque Mariama in Chicago, because in Islam, Mary is called Mariama. Now, in a few minutes, I'm going to go to that, because Mother Khadijah of the Nation of Islam is Queen Mother Isis. She is to be restored as caliphate, the mother of the righteous and the mother of the faithful. This is the return of the ancient ones. This is the restoration of the glory seat. Farrakhan, I told you, this is where you see her on her throne. Khadijah is the mother of the faithful. Look it up. All of them gave me the clues. Betsy Ross was her slave name. Who made the American flag? That was just the key. That was just the key. Because the flag story does not add up. It's an incongruency there. So that means that there's something else there. So her name was Betsy Ross as the cloak. That was the disguise to let me know how to find Isis, the queen of heaven and earth. Now we got another problem here. We got another problem. Because if she's over here, who the fuck is that over there? Now, everybody that already said Francis was the imposter. Now I told y'all it was some foul shit going on. Right? Now I showed y'all already. Everybody know what's going on. This is not haphazard. So, in the quest to restore balance back to earth, under the orders of Mott, by the evidence provided by the CASHAPP, Mother Khadijah is the Queen Isis, the mother, the queen of heaven and earth. I am the widow's son. I am crown prince of heaven and earth. Now, I'm going to walk you through some signs. I am the self-raised master, the master of masters. And everything I have shown you has proven this. But there's one thing that you got to understand. Because if you don't know who God is, you're about to find out. The black stone, I told you what it was. Now we're going to show you what it is. Now, remember when we went yesterday, we went over the 5% information. And I showed you the Melanica, the Palace of the Rising Sun. We went over the Vesica Pisces. And the Vesica Pisces being the identifier, right? The Vesica Pisces being the identifier. So now, when we go up and we look at the Kaaba, now remember, it's a circle and a square, right? The builders built the box to house the mother, Alat. I'm about to lay it out for y'all now. Because if y'all sitting here thinking God is a man, are you insane? God cannot be a man. The Black Madonna returns. Francis, you gotta go. I'm finna show my people. I got everybody tied together in this. Everybody tied together in this. So let's go. We finna go do. This is the Kaaba. This is the Kaaba of Mecca. Right here. Right? Now, look. This is white. This is black. This is gold. Got it? White, black, and gold. So those are colors. Right? Now, you can't see the black stone on there. But this is the black box. This is Pandora's box. Now, I had to get a replica. Now remember, I opened that earlier and told y'all about Pandora's box. Now, in my post, I identified the three kings. Malik Shabazz. Right? Malik means king in Arabic. But it also means angel. That was supposed to be Wallace Muhammad, but he got cold feet. He got cold feet. So Elijah had to call Malcolm down there to be the scapegoat. He had to run the red herring in order to protect the throne. In order to protect the throne of heaven. Right? So now, in order to protect the throne of heaven, a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices. But this was Pandora's box. This was the black box. So this was the Kaaba I had to open, Pandora's box. So now, the story of Pandora opening her box, she couldn't close it once it was open. I bust these motherfuckers in they shit. Once it was open, you can't close it. Now, let's go. They said that the black stone is the stone the builder rejected, the chief cornerstone. Now, everybody was looking for a man. Now, I want y'all to look careful. Any woman can tell me this is not a vulva. This is not a vagina. Is this a vagina? Do I got anybody that say this is not a vagina? Now we looking at the black dot as Dr. Richard King identified the black dot. Right? But look, remember, because you got to get Baphomet out of there. I'm not making this shit up. I didn't post none of this. You see him in there, right? You see him in there. The perfected man. I am him. You can't hide shit from me. I'm gonna find it. Until to who revealed? The son of perdition? What you say? Is he in there? Is he in there? You goddamn rapist, come up out of there. What you doing in it? Is he in there? But we trying to get the imposter out. We trying to get the imposter out. See him up in there? I'm not bullshitting. They told me where the devil was at. Right? Waiting to devour the sun. You see that dragon? Identify him. That's the portal of life. It's all symbolism, but it's to teach a spiritual lesson. But you can see, when the wisest man in the world come, everybody else got to figure this shit out. I'm going to show you where to find it. I'm going to show you where to find it as I find it. Where is he? That's the uterus. The Baphomet is a uterus, remember? You can't make this shit up. This is real life. So now that we didn't reveal who the beast, where the beast was hiding at, it's the Pope. It's the papal bull. Remember? Osiris had to slay the bull. What did he have to slay him with? Right? He had to slay him with the arrow. I am the golden arrow in native culture. I'm from the silver bow. I'm showing y'all this. Look. You can't hide nothing from me. I'm going to find it every time. Now, this is for the PhD. So now, I still got to show you the one like unto the Son of Man. Now, if I'm the Son of Man, there got to be some similitude. Something got to be similar in physical appearance, and he got to have on a... So now this is leading me down the trail. At the end of this video, I got to be able to produce the sound of the A tone being correctly intonated, and it got to match all of the signs at the end of this presentation. I got to walk you from what Farrakhan said, that when you hear the A tone, you will be at one. You're going to hear the right sound from the one God. Look, before you know who God is, you got to know who the devil is. They write it in Egypt, man know thyself. Right? Man know thyself. Look, I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you in real time. As I pull it up, I'm showing it to you. Now, let's go. I done tied all of the nations together. Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, Lord. I don't want to go this route. Okay, look. Now, this is on my bed. This is the... I didn't even realize this was the family crest. This is the blood ties. Now, let me show you what it looked like for real over here. Now, I went over what everything was except the backdrop. This is the two bears. This is my son and my daughter. This is Michaela and this is Jeremy. This is my clan totem tribe. This is the direct positioning of the tattoos for the blood right. Right here. But this is her. So now, remember, I have to show y'all Sophia, because wisdom, Ein Sof, is what I got to produce. Ein Sof. Now, look at here. This is Sophia. This is the wise woman. This is the wisdom that Solomon sought so dearly. This is the wise woman. Right here. The one that established the blood right. See, this is the blade. Look, this is showing you the connection to the gods and earths. This is showing you the connection. I went over all that already. These are things that I picked up in my travels impulsively. None of this was planned. Look, the young maiden. The young maiden. Now, my mother, Scotta, my Irish right, the redhead princess. I told y'all, my mama is the redhead princess. And y'all think I'm playing. And when she got older, her hair began to fade, it became gray. My mama hair began to gray as she got older. Right? She was the one. This is why you don't see a wine glass up here, because she is the Holy Grail. She is the one who carried the holy seed. This was Scotta. So now this is my mother right here. This is the Vice Lord. See, because you need the two women to confirm him. Needed the two women to confirm him. But out of the father's line, he had to be able to draw King Arthur's sword. My father's name is Arthur. Remember that. Right? But the struggle with the self, the bondages of the 7 chakras being bound by the curse that broke up the family. So then the chain broke on its own. On its own. Right? Accept that. But in the course of my journey, you know, I had to acquire, because it's saying there that I would get the key of life. Endure to the end, and I would receive the key of life. I put the whole family back together. Keep the game. Now, I had this takes me to Putin in Russia, because I had to conquer Thor. And this is my Norse connection for the Norse tribes. My Vaya kings. That the Moors were the navigators for. That concealed the secret. Jacques de Monet, that died at the hands of the French, which tied me to Adolf Hitler, who had legitimate grievances against the French when he was attacked. But still, I had to be the black stone. The stone that the builder rejected has to be the chief cornerstone. So I collected that in Chicago. That's Jeff Ford gave me that. Let my people go. Right? I just showed y'all all of the rest of the stuff. Now I got to show you the man with the 7 candlesticks and the 7 stars in his hand, with the gown to his waist, and he's packed in gold, and he's like unto the Son of Man. And this would be this, because I'm in search of the A-tone. That's my clue. This was my clue where to find the A-tone. I had to find the A-tone to bring us all together. Right? The black ones and the white ones. The Hispanic ones and the Asian ones. The tall ones and the short ones. The fat ones and the skinny ones. The smart ones and the dumb ones. The healthy ones and the sick ones. The strong ones and the weak ones. I had to go through all this. I had to put it all on the line. Right? So this is your revelation of Jesus Christ. This is what God gave unto him to show and signify to his faithful servant, me. God wants us to restore family structure. This is what the science is telling me. I still got some receipts to do, because remember, as above, so below. I have to prove to y'all with the receipts of the day that I did everything I said I was going to do. I did everything according to the rules given to me across all disciplines, not just one. So now I have to write the receipt. Right? Now my day started out with a con artist attempting to con me. Okay? Which resulted in a receipt on what you call a 50-50 transfer. Right? Tupac took care of the 40-40 transfer. His seat is seat 40. Mine seat 50. Right? So now, that's Malachi Z. York. That's Malachi Z. York. He brought me the A-tone. And the A-tone is in this right here. This song, which this tape is non-functional at the moment because I don't have a working cassette player. But never fear. As a true general, there's always a way to win the battle. Thanks to my sisters out there, because y'all should stand up soldiers. Now, this right here is the final piece to the puzzle, because remember, Farrakhan said the one that came to y'all and sounded off the A tone is when all of us will finally have one person that will make everybody the same. No big I's, no little U's. This is what they talking about. This is what the struggle was all about. So it all got to be explained in the end. Right? God, once I got it there to the highest heights of wisdom and met God, God said make a family. God didn't say make a black family, a white family, a Hispanic family. God said make a family. I have to teach y'all how to build families and build them again, just like I had to build this family crest that I did not realize was a family crest until I realized it was a family crest, so to speak. And so there will be no breaking of the blood, right? My mama told me to leave that intact. So that ties all of us together. Putin, stand up. Moscow, y'all can let them know now. It's all here. Now, I want to go back and point this out, because this is the 50-50 transfer for an Amazon gift card. Now you see the arrow that points up here to thought. Now these are my travels. You see, now, me, I had to be Atum, right, who wrestled with Apep.